Chair thanks the gentleman. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Representative D'Esposito.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Administrator. How are you? First, I want to start off with, I'm sure as you've heard time and time again from colleagues on this committee, it's absolutely reprehensible to withhold aid and support based on political affiliation. As you know, in addition to being on this committee, I serve as the subcommittee chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee's Emergency Management and Technology Subcommittee that is also looking into this matter. Additionally, I was the chief of the Island Park Fire Department when Hurricane Sandy brought destruction and devastation to Long Island. And I will tell you that no political affiliation, no campaign sign, nothing would have prevented me and those who served under me from helping our neighbors. So I'm sure you can understand why reports of FEMA employees skipping homes based on political affiliation and support of President-elect Donald Trump is both shocking and absolutely disturbing. First off, what has FEMA done or planning to do to ensure the homes that were passed over because of President Trump's signs are made whole?
Congressman, I appreciate your ongoing support of FEMA, and I share your concerns over the actions of this employee. We have first terminated that employee to ensure that we can continue to do the good work to support the American people. We have also sent in an additional team to go to those 20 homes that we have identified as having been skipped over to ensure that they have had an opportunity to register for assistance. And we've provided refresher training to all of our staff in the field to remind them about the importance of serving all people, meeting them where they are, and ensuring that anyone who has been impacted has an opportunity to apply for assistance.
Okay. So the employee at the center of this, who, as you said, was terminated, which I appreciate that, and I think that that was the correct course of action. But she claims that her instructions were part of a, quote, institutional FEMA policy of avoiding potentially hostile homes. So I think you briefly touched on it, but what are your plans to change or clarify this, what could be a very bogus policy, but nonetheless one that people in FEMA feel that exists, to make sure that it never happens again?
There is nowhere in any FEMA policy, any training material or information that would direct any of our staff to avoid a home because of a political sign in their yard. We do provide training to our staff about aggressive behavior and how they can make sure that they can feel safe. And as we have conducted this refresher training, we have reminded them that this is reactive behavior when somebody is approaching you, not proactive to discriminate against somebody.
Okay, thank you. And now I'm going to bring it a little closer to home. So earlier this year on Long Island, there was a 1-in-1,000-year rain event, which produced nearly 10 inches of rain, leading to widespread flash flooding that caused road closures, travel disruptions, and significant damage to public and private property. Following the rain event, the New York State applied for both public and individual assistance from FEMA. The state was successful in receiving a declaration for public assistance. However, individual assistance was just denied last week. And I know that this is an issue both my colleagues from Long Island, Mr. Lalotta and Mr. Garbarino, are working on. But FEMA's public assistance program has defined the threshold of $37.5 million in damages for eligibility to New York State. However, according to the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services in New York State, determining eligibility for individual assistance is more complex and cannot be assessed as straightforwardly as the public assistance threshold. So first, is there a comparable threshold or specific dollar amount for uninsured damages that must be met for a disaster to qualify for individual assistance?
Our individual assistance program does not use a very clear-cut guideline like that because we understand that the community impact could also be a consideration. And if a community has had such significant trauma to it, we wouldn't want an arbitrary line, an arbitrary number to prevent them from getting assistance. So we have flexibility within our authorities to understand the impact of a community, but also what the availability and the capacity is of the state or the local jurisdiction to support them.
So we're going to be talking about this in the Homeland Subcommittee, but if you wouldn't mind, if you could have you and your staff, if you would be willing to provide more detailed information on how those thresholds for individual assistance are determined. I understand that it's sort of a cloudy area, but that would be able to help us on Long Island assist our neighbors and give them concrete answers as to what they're dealing with. I know that, again, Mr. Lalotta and Mr. Garbarino are both dealing with a lot of phone calls, a lot of concerns, people that really don't know where to turn to next. And as we know, these storms were devastating, unexpected, which sometimes makes them even more devastating, and we just want to give them answers. So if you could provide a little bit further detailed information, we'd all appreciate it.
We'd be
Mr.
happy
Chairman,
to do
I
that.
yield back.
Chairman